Alright, so we're going to take you some basic geometry, basic chemistry, then sacred geometry, and advanced organic chemistry. So basically, talk about the area of a trapezoid. One half the base plus the height. And we'll talk about the pyramid is a polyhedron, the vertex, the lateral faces, the lateral edges, the altitude, the square pyramid, which is what you find in Egypt. The volume of the pyramid, one-third the base, one-third the area of the base times the height. And we talk about side angle side and side theorems, and area of a polygon, okay, 1/2 A times P. And we talk about the A being the apothem and the P being the perimeter. And the apothem is the radius of the inscribed circle, perpendicular from the center to the side. And we talk about the lateral area of a right circular cylinder, which is basically 2 pi RH. And the side of an angle is the opposite leg over the hypotenuse. The cosine is the adjacent leg over the hypotenuse. The tangent is the opposite leg over the adjacent. That's how you find the sine, cosine, and tangent of an angle. So we go on to abscissa, the first coordinate of the ordered pairs of the numbers that are patched. We all know what the absolute value is, adjacent vertices, endpoints of a side, a polygon, altitude of a circular cone, the perpendicular segment from the vertex to the plane of the base, altitude of a circular cylinder, perpendicular segment from a point in the plane of one base to the plane of another base, altitude of a parallelogram or perpendicular segment from a point in the line containing one side of the line containing the parallel side, altitude of a prism, a perpendicular segment from a point in the plane of one base to the plane of the parallel base, the altitude of the pyramid, the perpendicular segment from the vertex to the plane of the base. Remember I talked about vertex and base. Yeah. Trapezoid, a perpendicular segment from a point in the line containing one base to the line containing the other base. Altitude of a triangle, a perpendicular segment from a vertex to the line containing the side opposite the vertex. Okay, we go on angle depression, the acute or right angle determined by the horizontal and a point below the horizontal. Angle of elevation, the acute or right angle determined by the horizontal and the point above the horizontal. We're talking about apothem of a regular polygon, the radius of the inscribed circle, the perpendicular from the center to a side. Which time we got? Okay. Area of a pyramid or prism. This has to do with the total area. I went through that when okay. Talked about the 1/2 the area of the base times height, area of a region, auxiliary line, a line not mentioned in the hypothesis, introduced to help establish a proof. Cartesian coordinate system, a 1-to-1 correspondence between the point in a plane and the ordered pairs of real numbers established by using two perpendicular numbered lines that intersect at the point for 0. Basically, I've known about this for a long time, and you know, certain instances where it was in my best interest to pretend I don't know a lot of this stuff, particularly certain terms that I have just talked about recently, which I can't even go into that. But basically, the white man was messing with me, and I had to play stupid, and that's fair play as well. Now, we go on. The base of a pyramid, the base of a prism, base of a trapezoid, we all know what that is, right? Okay. Circular cone, a three-dimensional figure made up of a circle at its interior given point, vertex in the plane, the vertex and a point of the circle. We all know what a circle is. A chord is a segment whose endpoints are points of a circle. Centroid, the point of a congruency of the medians of a triangle. Okay, we know about the center. Circumscribed circle, we know about that. Collinear points. Okay, so you should all know about the pages. Okay, we're going right through this. We got about a little over 5 minutes to finish this up. Let's get this over with. I know it's a pain. Theorems we're not even going to touch on, too. We're just going to hit you with the glossary. I'm not going to teach you geometry. I'm just going to teach you some key points that have to do with the New World Order, etc. Common external tangent, a line that is tangent to each of two circles and does not intersect the segment having the center as endpoints. Common internal tangent, a line that is tangent to each of two circles and intersects the segment having the centers of endpoints. Common tangent and line tangent to each of two coplanar circles. Compass, a tool used for drawing circles and parts of circles. We know about that. Concentric circles, circles with the same center but different radii, which is the plural of radius. We talk about consecutive angles. Two angles of a polygon whose vertices are consecutive vertices of the polygon. Yeah. Constant of proportionality. The ratio of the length of a side in one length to the length of the corresponding side in another length, where the first figure is an image of the second under similar transformation. Converse, the resulting statement when the hypothesis and conclusion of an if-then statement are interchanged. So you have converse shoot, then if, instead of if-then, right? So we go on, convex polygon. A polygon having all points in only one of the two planes determined by the line containing any side of the polygon. Coordinate axis, number line, coordinate plane, we all know what that is. Coordinates, we know what those are. Coplanar lines, points, angles, lines, points in the same plane. Corollary, a theorem that can be proved easily and immediately from a postulated theorem or another corollary. We talked about cosine cube, a right prism whose faces are all squares. Deductive reasoning in which general statements are applied to specific cases to produce a conclusion. Diagonal of polygon, a segment whose endpoints are non-adjacent vertices of the polygon. Diagonal of polyhedron, any segment whose endpoints are two vertices not in the same face. Dihedral, the union of two non-coplanar half planes having the same edge. The common edge is the edge. Each half plane is the face of the dihedral. Equiangular polygon, a polygon having all angles congruence. Exterior angle for polygon, an angle that forms a linear pair with an angle of the polygon for two or more lines in a transversal. It's the exterior of the circle, exterior of the angle, okay. External secant segment. Okay, basically we're going to wait till segment for that. I'm going to do it by the book, whether or not I know what it is, because I got to shoot through this, so we got 2.5 minutes, okay. Hypotenuse, the side opposite the right angle of a triangle. That's important to you memorize that. Indirect proof, for proof without a proof in which all possible conclusions except one are eliminated. Also a proof in which the conclusion sought is initially denied. And we go on to, let me check on something real quick, sorry. Inscribed angle, an angle whose vertex is a point of the circle and whose side contain two chords of the circle. Okay, inscribed polygon, these are the type of things I saw in my dream. A polygon whose vertices are points of the circle. The circle is circumscribed about the polygon. Intercepted arc, an arc having its points in the sides of an angle and its other points of the interior of the angle. Interior of a convex polygon, the interior sections of the interiors of the angle of the polygon. Internal secant segment. Isometry, a transformation in which a figure and its shape have the same size and shape. Isosceles trapezoid having congruent non-parallel sides. Isosceles triangle, a triangle having at least two sides congruent. Lateral area of a prism of a pyramid, the sum of the sides of the lateral faces. Lateral face of a pyramid or a prism, a face that is not the base. Lateral surface of a circular cone, the union of all segments whose endpoints are the vertex of the cone and a point in the base circle. Lateral surface of a circular cylinder, the union of all segments between the base circles and parallel to the axis. So we're going to be cutting this close. Got 1 minute. Let's shoot through this. Lines of symmetry, we know about that. Linear pair, major arc, mean, proportional. The number b in the proportion. A over b equals b over c means. The second and third terms of proportion. Measure of an angle, we know that. Measure of dihedral angle, the measure of one of its plane angles. Medium of a trapezoid, the segment whose endpoints are the midpoints of the non-parallel sides of the trapezoid. Medium triangle, the segment whose endpoints are the vertex of the triangle and the midpoint of the opposite side. Minor arc, the points of a circle that are in a central angle of its interior. As opposed to major arc, the points of the circle that are in a central angle of its exterior. Obtuse angle, an angle whose measure is greater than 90 but less than 180. Obtuse triangle, a triangle with an obtuse angle. 101 correspondence, the pairing or matching of the objects and sets correspondence to exactly one of the objects. So the objects in another set, so the object corresponds to exactly one other object. Let me say that again, my bad. I ended by saying that. The pairing or matching of the objects in one set with the object in another set is so that each object corresponds to exactly one other object. Opposite rays if D, A, B, AB, and D, AD are opposite rays with a line pointing toward the second letter. Now, on top of it, pointing past it actually, ordinate, the second coordinate of the ordered pair of a number that matches with a point in the in the coordinate plane. Origin, the point of intersection of two perpendicular number lines. Orthocenter, the point of congruency of the altitudes of a triangle. Parallelepiped, a prism whose bases are parallelograms. Parallelogram quadrilateral, having two pairs of parallel sides. Perpendicular bisegment of segment, a line that is perpendicular to the segment and contains its midpoint. It was okay if I go over it because I need to make up for a whole lot of ones I went under. Pi, in a rational number, the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter. Pi equals 22/7, or pi equals 3.14, on so on. Now, platonic solid, going to plane angle or dihedral angle, the intersection of the dihedral angle plane perpendicular to the edge of the dihedral angle. In case at this point you probably forgot what a dihedral angle is, let me go back and cover that right quick for you. The dihedral angle is the union of two non-coplanar half planes having the same edge. The common edge is the edge, and each half plane is a face of the dihedral angle. Now, we go on. I believe this is one of the last pages. Let me end this damn video. Okay, second to last page. No. As far as once I flip, really, I got 3 pages left. Yeah. Point of tangency. The point shared by a circle and a tangent to the circle. Point slope form. A form of the equation of a line. Y minus y1 equals m, parentheses, x minus x1, m, parentheses, when m is the slope and x1 and y1 the coordinates of a point of the line. Polygon. The union of three or more of the coplanar the union of 3 or more coplanar segments, such that segments intersect only at endpoints which each endpoint belongs to exactly 2 segments and no 2 segments with a common endpoint are collinear. Polygonal region, the union of a polygon and its interior. Polyhedron, a closed 3-dimensional figure consisting entirely of polygonal region, consisting entirely of polygonal regions. Each region is a face of the polyhedron. The intersection of two adjacent faces the intersection of two adjacent faces is an edge, and the intersection of two adjacent edges is the vertex of the polyhedron. Part of it is I'm trying to rush through this. Postulate, a rule or statement which is accepted without proof. Prism, a polyhedron having 2 congruent polygonal faces in parallel planes and other faces of parallelogram shape. Each of the congruent polygon faces is a base of the prism. Protractor, an instrument used for measuring angles in degrees. Pyramid, a polyhedron having a polygonal face, a point called the vertex, not in the plane of the polygonal face and other faces of a triangle shape. The polygonal face is the base of the pyramid. Quadrilateral, polygon that has 4 sides. Radical, an indicator root of a number. Radius, a segment which the center of any point, it starts at the center and touches any point of the circle as endpoints. Radius of a regular polygon, radius of a regular polygon, the radius of the circumscribed circle. Radius of a sphere, ratio, I only got 1 minute before it's not going to let me record anymore, so I got to finish this off. Reflects a property of relation on a set that states that any member of the set is related to itself. Let's see, what are the keys? Scaling triangle, triangle having no 2 sides congruent. Secant, a line that intersects a circle in 2 points. Secant segment, segment AB of secant AB, in which A is the point of the circle, B is an exterior point, and C is another point of the circle, such as A/C/B. AC with a line over it is the internal secant segment. BC is the external secant segment. Semicircle. Okay, similarity transformation. A transformation of the points of a plane in which one point O is of the plane is its own image on every other point. A has an image A hyphen or A apostrophe such that O A apostrophe equals K O A in parentheses, comma, K a positive real number. Okay, I gotta end it there. Not bad.